Well, not that long ago, I can still remember feeling cold, cross and hostile. And if I'd been a wiser man, I would have opted for their four-star plan. And maybe I would have been cozy for a while. But Christmas Eve, it made me shiver, because each room was icy like a blizzard. So I rang the British gas man, who turned up in his own gas van. It cost me £100 for him to peer inside, to merely shake his head and turn and sigh. He said there was nought that he could do, and I was mortified the day my boiler died. I cried when my boiler had died. It was colder in my bungalow than it was outside, and the gas man couldn't fix it, only offer his advice. But he condemned my knackered boiler outright before he disappeared off into the night. I sat indoors in hat and gloves while contemplating where to shove the expansion vessel manifold. I'd lost my faith in British gas. He could shove my boiler up his ass. And my turkey, it had goose pimples. It was that cold. Well, at that time it seemed too posh, but I wish I'd bought that Worcester Bosch, 'cause they had the best reviews, and now my house was like an igloo. Well, it is safe to say I had come unstuck. My boiler would have been chucked into a skip 'cause it was broke on the day my boiler died, and I was freezing. Yes, I cried 'cause my boiler had died. It was colder in my bungalow than it was outside, and I was searching for answers that they couldn't provide. I would have to let my tank top strip dry, have to let my tank top strip dry. Now on Christmas Day I was on the phone to British Gas to rant and moan, but their engineer didn't call at noon. I felt like winter in Aberdeen, and I shivered while venting my spleen to an automated voice and Coldplay tunes. Well, I sat in through Boxing Day, and still no gas man came my way. They seemed quite unconcerned, and my calls were not returned. And as our house went back to Stone Age, I paced up and down in fits of rage, like Yorkshire Gordon Ramsay in a cage, the day my boiler died, and I was fuming. I cried 'cause my boiler had died. I was colder in my bungalow than it was outside. They said they had ordered parts, but then they never arrived. I was pigged off cold and dissatisfied, pigged off cold and dissatisfied. Well, my defeated heater, it didn't fear the reaper. The house, it was cold just like my demeanor, 8 degrees and falling fast. My mood was foul, I had not bathed or washed my hair for several days, but the gas man didn't come. No, he couldn't be asked. So I had to wash cold in the sink. My hands were blue and my crinkles pink, and my feet, they stunk like hell, as did other parts as well. And without that vital pilot light, well, there was not a chance it would ignite. My arse, it froze for 3 more nights after my boiler died. It was Baltic. I cried when my boiler had died. It was colder in my bungalow than it was outside. I was so scared about the leaking carbon monoxide, so I opened all my windows up wide, and only then did the gas man arrive. The boiler man came on New Year's Day, and he took that sodding thing away, and I was left with my head in my hands. I went down to the plumbing store, and underneath my breath I swore, and the man said this one, it cost £4 grand. And in my head my wallet screamed, I'd lost my shit or so it seemed. But not a word was spoken, 'cause the old one still was broken. Since Christmas Day I'd watched the clock and had to boil a kettle to wash. But finally I got that Worcester Bosch after my old boiler died, and I were chuffing livid. I cried when my boiler had died. It was colder in my bungalow than it was outside, and I should call the priest to have that thing exorcised, but holy water was not supplied. Yes, holy water was not supplied, and I'd been shivering. I know why my wretched boiler had died. Unlike my new one, which can do one, 'cause the new one's not shit. It was efficient like Germans who leave towels by poolsides, but mine was British and was badly designed. Oh, yeah.